Miss Day says she's devoted her life to Mr. Green, and he's repaid that devotion by constantly belittling her and denying their one-year-old daughter. Today on Divorce Court.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding.
Hello, everyone. You may be seated.
Your Honor, the case of Day v. Green.
Thank you very much, Ms. Day and Mr. Green. I'm glad to have you all here at Divorce Court today. This is a very intense case, and I'm really relying upon the two of you to put your family first as we get into the facts of this case. As I understand it, Ms. Day, Mr. Green, you have been together for 10 years now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have children together, including one who regretfully passed away right at birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
But there is a child in question, and Mr. Green, you have some other children. So this is a family right now, as I understand it. Am I correct, you all?
Yes.
Ms. Day, tell me what brings us to divorce court.
I'm here today because I feel like I'm on trial every day. He's disrespectful. He doesn't stand up for me in front of his other family, and he's questioning the paternity of our one-year-old Noellen. I want to establish paternity today, and so that I can get the respect I deserve, and if I don't, I'm ready to walk away.
So you heard what Ms. Day said, Mr. Green. What do you say?
I want to fight for us. I want to save our relationship. I mean, last thing I want is for us to fall apart over doubt. She's the love of my life. I mean, I just want to get the truth out there so we can move forward and be happy.
Well, I know one of the issues is the doubts about the paternity of your youngest child. However, there's some core issues that brings us to divorce court. Why don't you take me back, Ms. Day? How did you meet?
We met through one of my best friends. At the time, we had a lot of things in common. He was really smart, and I was attracted to those things. We partied a lot at the beginning, and we've been sober and clean for over a year now.
Both of you?
Yes.
So we at least have spent some time getting our health in order, our physical health, so that we don't have drugs and alcohol as a problem anymore.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So now we got through that. What ends up bringing us here?
So we had our first son, and then we had our second son, who we lost at birth. After that, I feel like a lot of things changed. I feel like I dealt with a lot of the trauma by myself. I had to deal with the cremation by myself, and I was angry about that. He was angry about things as well, and I felt like he was distant and gone, and I feel like that was the biggest problem.
So the loss of the baby. Mr. Green?
I feel the same way. I feel that I had to deal with a lot of the grief myself then. I mean, I did deal with it. I mean, I think there was a lot of things that we needed to grieve together and grieve by ourselves, so we didn't handle correctly at the time, and I feel like that could have made a big difference then.
I can tell you right now, no matter what happens at the end of this case and in your relationship, you need some help getting through this. And notice I didn't say getting over this, because you will never get over the loss of your child. But you're going to need to heal yourself and forgive yourself. And I'd like to give you the opportunity to have somebody, regardless of what we do here in your relationship. The two of you deserve to have some help getting through one of the most traumatic things that any family can understand. Would you accept that help?
Yes. Thank
you. Help me to understand, Ms. Day, why you say he has become disrespectful and angry. What are examples that you're talking about?
Okay, so he has anger issues, and an example, when there was a snowstorm and I was driving in a crappy car, you know, we had bad brakes, no defrost, so I can't see, and it was coming down, I mean, horrible. And the phone's ringing continuously. So I finally reach over to grab it and answer it, and by the time I answer it, you know, he's yelling at me, where are you at? Get the car home in 20 minutes. And when I finally do pull up and stop the car, you know, he opens the door, starts threatening to break the phone. I feel like he wasn't worried about my safety during that at all.
So wait, we're in the middle of a snowstorm?
Yeah.
You weren't even supposed to be driving. Why were you driving in a snowstorm?
That was nothing about it. She wasn't supposed to be driving the car anyway. She wanted to go see her son. I wasn't able to go that day. She wanted to go anyway. She knew the car was messed up. And The thing about the 20 minutes was that was after she called me and said, I'll be home in 20 minutes, after not answering me the whole time when I told her, if you're gonna leave with the car, at least just keep in contact with me so I know you're okay. So I would start, it stemmed from worry. I mean, she told me she'd be back in 20 minutes. I waited 20 minutes and then called her back, and she still,
Which I'm not good with my phone, but I feel like that was established when we first got together. I'm sorry, but anytime I've been around our son, especially, I don't care about my phone. So that's been, it's been an ongoing issue, but especially during the snowstorm, I threw the phone way out of the picture at the time and kept driving.
But Ms. Day, come on now, for consideration purposes, when you are in a relationship with somebody, if you know one of their bones of contention is you be in contact with them, you have to elect not to push a button, especially if you know what that button is. So if you didn't know that being in contact was a problem, then okay, I can give you that. But you knew that he needed you to be in contact. You knew that he didn't want you to be in the car. You knew that it was a bad snowstorm, okay? So you had to elect not to pick up the phone and elect not to give him real feedback. So tell me what was really going on.
So you're right, I did throw the phone knowingly after that, but then when we pull up, the disrespect issue, him calling me a hoe in front of the neighbors and everything and yelling, it'd be one thing if when I approached, I could apologize for that. But the opening the door and making a scene and then embarrassing me, calling me names in front of everybody, that's the disrespect that I'm...
100%. Where does the calling her out of her name and that kind of response come from?
I probably did respond the wrong way.
No, you did respond the wrong way.
I did lose my temper.
I cannot tell you there's ever been a time that my husband has called me out of my name. You want to know why? Because I'm his wife, and he respects me, and he would never use that language. And he know my daddy, and my daddy would shoot him. Okay? So I turn now to you, Mr. Green. Where did the disrespect come from? Because I completely get the fact that you were annoyed and upset and worried. But where does the calling her out of her name and that kind of response come from?
I probably did respond the wrong way.
No, you did respond the wrong way.
I did lose my temper and...
No, I want to hear it. You did respond the wrong way.
I did respond the wrong way.
There you go.
And the thing about breaking the phone, I told her, why do you have the phone? I might as well break it if you don't use it anyways. Why do you have the phone? You mean, and about calling her out of her name, I probably was upset. Like, again, it stemmed from worry. Where were you? You know what I mean? I get mad, like, what the heck's going on?
I know, but you don't call people out of their name. I cannot tell you there's ever been a time that my husband has called me out of my name. You want to know why? Because I'm his wife, and he respects me, and he would never use that language. And his mama raised him better than that. And he has sisters, and he would not want any of their husbands to call them out of their name, and he know my daddy, and my daddy would shoot him.
Yes.
Okay? That's for real.
I understand how I'd feel about my daughters being spoken to.
Exactly. I was about to ask you, if a young man in high school, when she is finally ready to rock and roll, she going on a date, okay? And the young man calls her a hoe in front of people. I'm probably gonna see you in another courtroom, am I right?
Yeah.
Holla.
Yeah.
So you gotta treat the mother the same way.
Another example, we were at the gas station. He pulls up to pay for gas. I think the cashier had him confused with another customer. When he went in to pay, for some reason, the cashier refused him service, and which I understand coming out, being upset, but when he comes out, he starts knocking over the trash cans, yelling at the cashier. The cashier runs out, starts threatening to call the cops. That's just an example of how the anger issues lead to, I need him home. We have a family to raise. And you don't need him to be picked up by the popo
dealing with
on
being silly.
Denied me service. He came completely disrespectful. He started yelling at me.
He was a jerk. I'm on your side with that, 100%. Now, why you trashed the place?
I shouldn't have lost my temper the way I did. But I tried to walk out, and he followed me out of the store, continuing to cuss at me and yell at me. So I walked out, and as soon as he came out the door, he yelled something at me. I turned around, and I responded, and then I walked by, knocked a trash can over, knocked another one over, and I pulled the pump out, threw it on the ground. And
you do realize you could have been one of these viral videos of somebody getting shot or getting beat down, or the cops coming and putting you down on the ground, and then your hands behind your back, and then we have to do a free Mr. Green out there from the cops because they done beat
And
you
we
down.
have our
So we don't want
kids
to do
with
all
us.
of that.
I knew he had anger issues when we first got together, but I feel like, things have snowballed sometimes with the trauma. With
So
the
let
trauma.
me guess, typical of the two of you, you all don't really deal with the anger issues because you do realize there are people who can help you manage your anger and focus it in another direction. You know that, right?
Yes.
I think I'm going to have somebody help me in this regard. But before I even deal with that, you talk a little bit about him putting you last. Help me to understand.
Okay, perfect example. When his family needed a new phone, a couple members needed a phone, we decided to open a credit line with somebody under my name.
Somebody in his family needed
New cell phones.
a new cell phone.
Yeah.
And why couldn't they get their own cell phone?
Their own credit issues, I'm assuming. But I went ahead and opened, but they were going at the time, I was going to get a new cell phone out of it too. So I went ahead and did it, got a new cell phone, opened up 3 total lines, and
So you put somebody on your line is your point?
2 family members.
Okay.
And the first month bill they paid, the second month and never paid it again. My credit ended up being almost $800 in debt. And now I can't get another credit phone line.
You don't know how to turn the phone off? I mean, seriously. The
Well, we
first
opened up
time you don't
payment
pay,
arrangements.
I'm assuming y'all have the same kind of little deal that I have.
They wanted the new iPhones.
Girl!
So I let them, so I let them go ahead and get the new phones, and so that's where the major, difference
Big
came
money
in.
dreams
And
and
then-
$2.50 in your pocket does not a new iPhone make, okay? This is the new baby
Yes,
that's in
1-year-old.
question today. Noel.
She kept the pregnancy from everybody.
What do you mean you kept the pregnancy? Because look, she's a little lady. I have seen pregnant people.
I gave birth to our first son weighing 125 pounds.
Quit bragging before I throw something at you.
So then when I asked him to, just kind of confront them about it, he said, that I knew what I was getting into, that the family wasn't.
All right.
Mr. Green, did you ask her to do this for your family?
I didn't really ask her. I told her that they asked about it, but she also knew that they had already they messed up other lines beforehand. I got my dad a phone line in my name, and they messed that up because he broke his phone, and they wanted to charge him the money for the phone, and they want to pay it. So she knew that my line had got messed up in my name, and I told her that. Plus, she also knew how my parents are.
What do you mean, how they are? Help me, because I don't know how they are.
I don't get along with them myself. I can't live with them. Our relationship has to be best served at a distance, I guess.
So you're trying to tell me they're not reliable family members?
She knows they are reliable to a point, but she knows to the point that they're reliable.
You knew all of this?
I did, yes. But like I said,
Members of the jury.
Like you said, we could have stopped at the beginning. I could have stopped it at the first 200, but instead
No, you could have stopped it before you put the first 200 down. The only thing you have is your name and your reputation, and if you can't get credit, that means you can't take care of your family. So we are past the cell phone, which we know you made a mistake in doing that. Should not have happened. And you can't blame him because he knew they were sorry from the beginning. So now we back to the sorry family who don't really care for her, which I can figure that out already. And they now are posting on social media about your child. Is that correct?
It was when she was first born.
This is the new baby
Yes,
that's in
1-year-old.
question today. Noel.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
When they made the post, she kept the pregnancy from everybody, so we didn't know if they meant porn.
What do you mean you kept the pregnancy? Because look, she's a little lady, but I have seen pregnant people, and you can usually know at least by like 6-7 months they pregnant.
She actually hit it fairly well. She just every one of our kids was
I
small.
gave birth to our first son weighing 125 pounds, and that was almost.
Quit bragging before I throw something at you.
She barely had a bump.
I can wear, comfortable clothes, and nobody noticed. My mom just my mom, when I finally told my mom, because I lived with my parents at the time, and they didn't know I was pregnant.
Why didn't you want anybody to know you were pregnant?
We had just lost Dalen. That was the name of our son, the year before. And when I got pregnant, we were split up on a rough patch. We hadn't really been talking too much, and I was afraid to tell him. I mean, I was afraid to tell everybody.
What do you mean you were afraid to tell them? Help me to understand.
Like he said, I had health issues before. Noellen came, she was early, our first son was early. Actually, Dalen, the one that we lost, was most full term. So I was really afraid, not just to lose the baby, but I was also afraid to, you know, there was all the horrible family dynamics. We were in a rough patch. I mean,
Miss Day, tell the truth. You did not want to get your expectations up until you knew that the baby was fine.
Completely.
That's why grief counseling is so important, so that you could actually enjoy your pregnancy, so that you could enjoy the anticipation, so that you didn't have to be so afraid that you'd be by yourself again. That's why you needed to have the grief counseling, sweetheart. Mr. Green, did you even understand what she was going through at that time?
I didn't. She didn't tell me about her being pregnant. I actually found prenatal pills in her bag and questioned her about it. And said, "So are you pregnant?" And she told me no. She denied.
So she lied.
She lied. She lied completely. We went through time. I was persistent about it, and then there was one day I gave her a hug and I felt her stomach and I felt a bump and I felt the difference. You know what I mean? We've been together for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know when your woman is pregnant.
I knew, and I called her out on it. She still continued to deny it and lie about it. So I didn't know how far along she was. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I said, we'd always been intimate on and off. I mean, there's never been barely any time between us being around each other. But so I didn't know why she was lying to me about it. And 6 weeks before she had the baby was when she stopped denying it. And then maybe a week or two later is when I actually got verification that she was pregnant, even though I knew beforehand.
Wait, how long before she actually gave birth did you realize that she was actually pregnant?
When I thought she was, it was probably 2.5 months before. That's when I said.
But when did she verify it?
A month before.
A month, yeah.
So she was 8 months pregnant before.
The baby was born 6 weeks early? She was born 6 weeks early. So
okay.
But I was about 7 months pregnant.
Yeah, so she was just over 7 months. So
something else was going on. My spidey sense is saying, Miss Day, something else was going on. What was going on?
We were also split up. I had been with somebody else.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
And
the judge spidey sense is rarely wrong, okay?
Yes. But like I've been saying, I know how to do math. I've done the calculations over. I wouldn't have came today if I wasn't 100% certain.
But I want to go back to this Facebook message because I'm going to come back to you on this. Tell me about this Facebook message.
She had actually been logged into her Facebook on my phone. And
so you went through the phone?
No, it was my phone.
It was your phone?
She was logged in on her Facebook on my phone.
Ah, that was dumb.
And,
okay.
And there was a guy that was writing her asking like about us and about them, and he made a comment about her and hearing she was pregnant, and she was ignoring him. She hadn't wrote him or anything, but that gave me reason to question.
Very much so.
You know what I mean, so when I tried to write and ask, he completely evaded me about it, and then so did she. So
let me guess, you almost go left and try to get to this guy. It's like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I was ready to go to his throat. I was mad. I was not.
And we know how you are with some anger issues.
Exactly. I wasn't happy about it. It hurt me, honestly, more than anything. I mean.
Did you ever confront the gentleman, or he ignored you?
He evaded me completely.
Next time on Divorce Court. When did you hook up with this person?
I had been living with him about 5 days before.
And then within the same 5 days, you had intimate contact with Mr. Green?
Yes.
Regardless of what this envelope says, this little girl is going to need a lot of love, and you need to be whole people to make sure she receives that. When it comes to 1-year-old Nolan Day,
Made in Georgia.